Inflation's a bitch, isn't it? All of our groceries have gotten expensive, and what are we supposed to do? Well, there are some money-saving hacks, and I'm going to show you one today. I don't know if you have this option in the US, but at least here in Canada, one of the most expensive stores you can choose, the Real Canadian Superstore, or as I'll just call Superstore for the rest of this video, does have one small saving grace. There's an app that the store also has, and you go into the app and you can buy their clearance stuff, like clearance produce. So I'm going to dump out what this $5 bag yields, and then we're going to use it up with some creative, fun things to do. Whoa! So much food it's falling over. So for $5, we got 2 small apples, an avocado, 3 limes, a zucchini, 3 pack of garlic, 2 mangoes, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 8 peppers, but my dog ate one when I had this out on the counter earlier. So that's what you get for $5. So what are we going to make with this? Well, my wife has been asking for mango salsa for a while. So 2 mangoes, 2 apples, and 1 yellow pepper with an onion out of the pantry and a ball of garlic. That's going to give us mango salsa over there. The zucchini, well, we'll use this somewhere else at dinner. I don't know. Oh, and a lime. So that's going to be our mango salsa. She also loves this pepper dip she gets at the store. And I read the ingredients, and it was roasted red peppers, mayo, sour cream, garlic. So we're going to roast these peppers. We're going to use another bulb of garlic, because we love garlic around here. I'm not being shy with this. And then we're going to dice up an onion and mix it with some sour cream and mayo. And we might add some cream cheese to it too, make it a little thicker. We have 1 little avocado here, so we're going to have a little bit of guacamole with dinner. That's going to call for another lime basically in each of these. And we have used up this $5 bin. Now let's show you how to use it all. The 2 things that are going to take the longest is roasting the peppers and confit the garlic. So let's get the peppers on to roast, and let's get the garlic peeled and into a pot of oil. I like to start it in some cold oil, put it on the heat with a little salt, and once that oil comes up to almost a boil, then I turn it off, mix it up, and add a lid, let it steep for 15 minutes. Throughout this video, the entire time I was cooking, I went back and I rotated and moved around those peppers. The ones in the front did blacken first because that burner has a power boil feature. So I'm going to start off working on the mango apple salsa by dicing up a red onion. Nothing fancy here. If you're not sure how to dice up red onions or any kind of onion, why don't you check out our culinary skills playlist that we did about 7 years ago. It's still there, and you can still learn how to do all your basic... Hey, I hate to interrupt the video, but if you're getting any value out of this, could you please hit that subscribe button and leave a comment down below. Culinary dices. Using a bench scraper here, we're going to keep our cutting board clean and get everything into our bowl. Again, basic pepper technique. We're just going to cut the top and bottom off. Use a paring knife to take the ribs out. And here I'm going to show you after we dice up. What I like to do is just dice up the tops and the bottoms first. I'm choosing to use a karitsuke, which is not necessarily the perfect knife for this job. But if you only have one knife, it doesn't matter if it's the perfect knife. All that matters is that it's a knife you have. So you can modify your technique to make do with what you have. So we're just going to add this to the bowl, and here you can see on the right hand side I doubled up my pepper and stacked it like that. And even though I had a head start on the left video, that portion of this went first. You can see how I caught up to it, and I even finished before it. So sometimes if you want to get your work done, it's just as simple as stacking things up, so that way you can do 2 at the same time. As you can see, I'm just going back to the stove and rotating my peppers. So off to the mangoes. Cut the mango, get as much of it off of the stone as you can. then I like to eat the skin on mangoes. I know I'm weird. So, but that's where all the vitamins and nutrients are on everything, is in the skin. So I left a couple little thin pieces off to the side of the cutting board for me to snack on while I was doing this. Otherwise, I'm just kind of filleting it like a fish almost. I'm making some incisions to like pre-slice it before I take it off the skin. And I'm using a paring knife for this job. If you know of an easier way, let me know. Why don't you tell me down in the comments below what your favorite way to take care of mango is. This is how I do it, but to be brutally honest, if we're doing mango salsa, anything at the restaurant for big functions, we just buy the frozen bags because I can get a 50-pound box of it for $75, which is a lot more efficient than doing this. But if we are doing small batches, like if we're doing lunch specials with mango salsa for maybe fish tacos, then we go to the store and buy a few mangoes. So we do a little bit of everything. Now, I think I have one more piece here, but basically once this is done, we're gonna put this into the bowl with our onions and our pepper and the garlic behind us. See, that's the problem. I wasn't sure. I knew I didn't have enough to say during this part, but I knew it was kind of important for you to see it. So I'm kind of just rambling on. But anyways, as you can see, we're just burning through it, getting that into a bowl. Real time, I think it took me about 15 minutes, and I was kind of screwing around a lot for the things that were edited out. So you can probably get this done in about 10. We're going to add the lime juice in. Heather and I, my wife, we ate this salsa for lunch after I was finished. We ate most of it with Tostitos chips. So for the apples, I'm just cutting them in half, then I quarter them, and I come in on an angle, and that's how I take out the seeds. That's how I like to do apples when I have to slice them. You could use one of those apple cutter ring thingamabobbers and press it down on them, and then you get slices. If I use one of those, I'll usually cut the apple horizontally 2 or 3 times, so that way it comes out automatically cubed. But, I mean, an apple, just like anything else, run your knife through it. Again, I purposely chose to leave the skin on. I wasn't being lazy. I don't have a problem eating apple skins. Some people would take it off. I think it adds some nice deserved color because the pepper was yellow, the mango's yellow, the flesh of the apple is off-white. Okay, so the garlic's done being confit, and we're going to use it for both recipes. And for this recipe, I decided to use the garlic press because you already have the crunch of the apple, you have the crunch of the pepper, you have the crunch of the onion. So I didn't, texturally speaking, I thought, if we just run it through the press, especially after it's confit, you're going to get almost all of it through the press, and it's just going to disappear into it, giving you some nice garlic flavor everywhere. At least that's what I thought, and it worked out pretty good. You could just use some garlic, which is industry term for jarred garlic, and there's nothing wrong with that. When we're seasoning it up, we're using cumin, chili powder, onion powder, and a little garlic powder just to supplement, and salt and pepper out of the fancy shakers. This is really something you gotta cook with feeling. Like, I would tell you to just start out with a teaspoon of each of the 4 spices, maybe a quarter teaspoon of the garlic powder. That way you're not overdoing the garlic flavor if you're not into it. I did have to go back and add a second lime to it. It just wasn't quite acidic enough. And it was also, because they were red apples, had they had been like delicious apples or something, I wouldn't have needed the sugar, but I added some sugar, and that was it for the salsa. You can see that the peppers are all starting to char up real nice, and in case you're wondering why I didn't use a red pepper for color in the salsa, Heather specifically asked that I use a yellow because she wanted as many reds in the pepper dip as possible. So after they're done being roasted, put them in a bowl, saran wrap it so it gets condensation, and stick them in the fridge. That way they'll condense and sweat, and the
black ashy skin will flake off easier. So for the second dip here, all you have to do is basically run your fingers over the peppers, the black ashy skin. If you haven't roasted them off, will fall off. And then I did take them over to the sink to give them a bit of a quick rinse. Now open it up, and you can just slide out the pepper seeds. These are sweet bell peppers, so it's not like I'm not telling you leave some seeds in, add some heat. There is no heat. And because roasted peppers have not quite a mush, but they are fairly tender and soft, it was pretty quick to just run the knife through everything in a couple directions too. All one way, then rotate your knife 90 degrees, come down the board, move things around. Basically, you want to get everything cut, I think, to about penny size. I like to have a little texture in the dip. After we were done, and I was happy with this, off camera, Heather took the immersion blender to it because she wanted a silky smooth puree. And that's fine. I mean, this is her dip, not mine. For here, I did choose to leave the garlic a little more. I just diced it because I thought, you're going to feel the bite of the garlic a little bit this way, and that's going to balance out against the fact that this is going in mayonnaise and sour cream. I wanted you to get a little bit of texture. So I started out, and I didn't have to add anything more. From the amount in there I eyeballed out, we should be using about a cup of sour cream and a cup of mayonnaise. So that's what I went with here. Just some store-bought sour cream. If you want to make your own sour cream, though, it's super easy. Just take some 18% cream and add some lemon juice to it. Mix it up till it starts to curdle. If it's not curdling, add a little more lemon juice and then put it in the fridge for about an hour. It'll be peak freshness there. Same thing with mayonnaise. If you want to make your own mayonnaise, there are tons of videos for how to make your own mayonnaise. I've done a few different variations of it on the channel. But with the store-bought mayonnaise, things do keep better because there are preservatives in it. So it depends on, your freshness level versus how long you plan on keeping things. Like if this were homemade mayonnaise, I would want everything in this bowl to be eaten over the next 3 days because of the raw egg. With this being store mayonnaise, let this go another 5-6 days. We ended up getting just over a kilo out of this. So Heather ended up portioning it off and freezing most of it. So salt, pepper were the first things I went with. Then we added some onion powder, some garlic powder, and then I went into the spice rack behind me. I added some chili flake. She had one labeled lemon dilly, so I grabbed that, and I also grabbed some lemon pepper. I would say, again, start out with a teaspoon of each. Salt and pepper, obviously, to taste. And then I used the juice of one lime in here. I mixed everything up with the whisk, and then I just bowled it off after checking the taste. And this is where you cook with feeling. Go back and keep tweaking it till you're happy.
Well, you just watched me make 2 nice easy dips out of my $5 bag of discount produce. Now, did I use everything in that bag? No, I still have an avocado and a zucchini to go through. But what do we got here? This was entirely made out of that except for the red onion that came out of my pantry. And, of course, my herbs and spices. It's even better than... So, it's been an hour since I made this, and it's had a chance to sit and mingle. We had this is all that's left. We had the rest of it for lunch with tortillas, just like I'm doing now. And it is nice and light and refreshing. You can have it like that all on its own as a dip, as a salsa for chips. Or what if you take some blackened chicken or fish and make some tacos and use that? This, on the other hand, it's got that nice Again, it's got that light, I don't know why I want to say it light and refreshing, because it's mayonnaise and sour cream. There's nothing light in that. But that little hit it gets from the lime juice really elevates it up that notch and kind of takes the heaviness out. Another good way to use these combined, like something we've done in the restaurant when we do the tacos, is we use them together. So like I make something similar to this at the restaurant, but with tomatoes instead of peppers. And we'll do the mayo on top of the meat, and then we'll do the salsa as like the topping. I've never tasted the actual one that my wife likes to buy, but it's $3 for a little jar. And this is already twice as much as what you get out of that little jar. Plus I have a bowl over there. So I only used 1 cup of sour cream and 1 cup of mayo. So obviously, massive cost saving here. This was almost free. If you wanted to add anything else to this, optional, a can of turtle beans or a can of black beans. That would really bring it up to it would add some depth of flavor. Anyways, I've been Chef James for this week, and you've been visiting me here at home in my kitchen. Don't forget, we post cooking demos on Tuesdays and reaction videos on Sundays.